Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Lone Oak Farm. It is day 5 of summer and the first of our crops are now ready to harvest. When I say the first of our crops, there's actually quite a few crops that have come in. Our wheat, our barley and our canola have all come in, so we are really given quite a wealth of options when it comes to actually starting our harvest as to where we're going to start. Now we're going to start with the canola. I did say that was my plan, was to get the canola done first. And there you see the perils of driving a little bit too fast on this road here, is that it's very bumpy and just a slight jolt can, if you're not careful, send you careering into your crops, which is obviously not what you want to do. You'll wipe out a whole section of potential money. But we're bringing our pickup truck over here so that we can get our combines out and finally take advantage of rolling them out this new facility here. So let's just take a quick look at our crop menu. And here you can see what has grown here. These two fields here, these are our soybean fields. Then we have wheat on these two fields just here. And then we have our barley just here as well. You can see that our corn here and on fields 5 and 6 up here in the top right corner, they're still in their final growth stage. Now these are ready for chaffing. If we want to go ahead and chaff these, we'll probably do that tomorrow, maybe the day after. There's no immediate rush on that. As we remember from last year, we actually made slightly more, not a huge amount, but slightly more by chaffing when the corn was fully grown as opposed to in its final growth stage. So we'll probably wait till that's fully grown this year. And then down here we have our sunflower fields just here, fields 48 and 51, and then these are our two beet fields, and these are probably going to be the last ones that we get done, possibly, because again, we don't have weather issues or weather constraints when harvesting beets. So whenever we get to a point where we've got those and another crop left to do, and we've got some clear weather and some wet weather, we'll do the good stuff, we'll do the normal stuff on the good days, and we'll do the beets on the bad days. So, if you remember, we can't open these doors from the outside, we have to open them from the inside. We're going to open up all 3 bays because we need both the harvesters, and we also need our auger wagon as well. So let's get those open. Let's make our way through here as well because we also need our headers. Let's open that door there. Come over here and open this door here as well. There we go. It looks like these have reset themselves. These weren't positioned like this. That's interesting. The axles have repositioned themselves slightly. In fact, the header trailers look to have repositioned themselves slightly. They're further forward than they were last time. Has that happened over here as well? It has. That's interesting. That may prove problematic. I think what we may possibly do then is we may replace these Terraflex corn headers. Oh, no, that's not the one. This one here. These corn headers here, these 3020s, we may replace those with the Quasar headers so that we can actually get those folded up somewhere out of the way and just have easier access to our 2 standard headers. Let's get our combines out into the field first of all. Have to drive out in a much straighter line before I start turning with the next one, I think. Let's avoid the big lump just there. There we go. And we'll get this lined up over here. So, primary target for today is to get fields 49 and 50 harvested, and then if we have time, we'll look at making a start on one of our other fields as well. We've got good weather forecast for today. We've got even better weather forecast for the next couple of days on top of that, and then really good weather for the day after that as well, with a little bit of cloud but clear skies. So we have no immediate pressures in terms of rain that we have to be wary of. Everything looks as though it's going to stay nice and clear, so when it comes to doing the straw, we're not going to have any real issues with that. And that's great to see. It means that we don't have to worry about rushing the straw baling, making sure that that all gets done before it starts to rain. If we're going to have nice clear weather like this, yeah, we've got no pressure in that respect, so we can take our time, make sure that we're baling the right fields that are closest to the farm to get everything transferred, and then the rest we can just go off and sell. And of course, we don't have our auto load trailer for this time around. We sold that off, so we are going to have to do the baling manually, which will take more time. So again, not having those time pressures of incoming rain does really help us out a lot in that respect. Because as fun as it can be to do all those bales manually, it is a lot more time consuming than running around with an auto load trailer and just scooping them up instantly. There we go, so we'll bring our harvesters out to here. We need to bring both the header trailers out as well, so let's run back, grab the pickup and start bringing those trailers over with the headers on them, as it could be a little bit tricky getting them out of the shed. As we saw, the trailers do seem to have repositioned themselves ever so slightly, so if we can get rid of 2 of those trailers and replace them with folding headers, it just makes things a little bit more easy for us, I think is the right word to describe that. So that's something we can look at doing. As you can see, we have plenty of cash. I got the orchard back up and running again. It did run out by the time I got to it last night. That is now fully stocked and operational again, so our money is starting to go back up again as far as the orchard is concerned. This one's going to be a bit trickier. In fact, these are both my corn headers, and I can't get to that one without pushing the trailer, I think. That's a little iffy. Yeah, I still can't. Oh, I had it for a second then. There we go. So these 2 corn headers, we may well get rid of these. As I say, replace them with folding case-R headers. It'll just make things a little bit easier to manage around here if we don't have these extra 2 trailers. So I can actually go ahead and close this door down. There we go, because both the headers we need are on the opposite side. I thought it was 1 each. I forgot that I'd stack them this way. So this should hopefully make it a little bit easier to get both of these out. I can just pull one of these out and reposition the other one and pull that one out straight afterwards. There we go. So we get both of these out, we'll grab a tractor back at the farm, bring that up and get our auger wagon out, and then we'll make a start on the harvest. So I'll catch up with you in just a second. So much the same as last year, we're going to do a border around the field. Get that all cleaned up quite nicely, and this is just to protect us from driving into one of our other crops. As you can see, we don't want to do any more damage than has already been done. I have nicked quite a lot of these fields here and there, or just lost control of a vehicle and slid into the crop and wiped a small section of it out. I want to avoid doing that anymore if at all possible. So putting these borders in, even though this one strictly isn't necessary in some respects because we've got a wide path in some between the fields, I'd still feel more comfortable with a border around our crop just to give us that extra bit of turning room. So we'll get this done along this edge, then we'll go along that edge there, we'll go along the top, and we'll also do the section going up by the tree with the other harvester as well. So as soon as I get to the end of this pass here, we're going to turn 90 degrees, go up that side of the field and leave this worker running. And we'll jump back into the other combine, get that one set up, and do our borders on the other edges of the field. There we go, so that's 2,000 litres in the back. And worker is off and running. Just want to quickly scan this actually, just check the crop moisture. And there you can see our crop moisture is at 14%, which isn't too bad. That's pretty good. Ground moisture 16% there. It hasn't rained for a couple of days, so you know, I was expecting it to be a little bit lower than that, but maybe it's just because it's quite cloudy and the sun hasn't come out. It'll probably dry out a bit more as the day goes on, I would imagine. So let's get that second combine operational. Get our tank unfolded. There we go. You can see our other combine already about halfway up the field. Making some good progress there. Okay, press the edge of the field there. And off we go. Getting started harvesting our canola. Very grey and overcast. The clouds did start to roll in pretty much as I was bringing the header trailers out, and they've fully kicked in now. But it's just going to be cloud cover. It's not going to rain today. At least it shouldn't rain today. There's been no forecasted rain, so we've got a good day's worth of light and good weather for us to, at the very least, get our canola off the ground. Border is in place. We are now kind of putting that straight down the middle of the field to separate out our two combines and also to stagger them so that we can set them off at different rates and different angles, so we can make sure that they're unloading, you know, or we can unload them without a conflict of them filling up at the same time, kind of thing, or you know, have issues trying to make sure that they're both kept running. So I'm just watching this guy just to make sure he gets to the end and turns left. That's the way I want him to go. Is he going to do that on himself, or am I going to have to? He's having a little bit of a Latin lowrider rhythm going on there. No, he's going the wrong way. I'll have to manually position him. And you can see that the clouds are burnt off already. That was really quick. I thought those clouds would be around for a good few hours, and they're pretty much gone already. So I reckon by 9 o'clock that weather symbol will have changed. It's still a little bit darker than it would normally be. There we go, he's off and running, so let's switch to the other combine. Let's get him up and running. And we can jump into our Magnum. Go. We'll tag this guy. This is going to be tight. We make our way through here. Oop, drifting into the combine. Don't want to do that at all. There we go. Tank is empty. Forward, and we'll get the other one. looks like he's just hit the 80%. You can see the lights flashing away, and I can just make out the warning now as well. Spin around so I can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. Stuff. Really is tight. Trying to make sure I can get alongside but not too close so they either get into the crop or tangle with the header. There we go, we're almost at the edge of the field again, I think. Yeah, not too far off. We might as well stick with this guy all the way to the end. To 35,000 litres of canola already. That's a great start. We can hold, was it 53,000 litres in this, and then we'll make a quick dash back to the farm, unload there with the auger, and then make our way back up here. We'll have time to do that between unloads, no problem at all. So go. In fact, I'm going to go and do my first tip right now, so let's put the cover back on. Make our way over to the silo and get this tipped in. And one of the other things I like about this Brent Avalanche is that it has the fully adjustable spout, not just the arm angle, but also the pipe header. It has an angle adjust as well. I mean, our original original auger had that as well, but there are some that don't have any adjustment options at all. They're very, very rigid, and you can kind of just move the arm up and down, but you can't change the outflow pipe head at the top. They are kind of just locked into position. This one gives you absolutely full flexibility, which is just, you know, really, really useful. So we can get here and we can change that angle, as you can see, as well as being able to change this height. Just gives you a lot of options. So if you have a lot of space next to a grate, you can do it at a very low angle like this. If it's a very tight area, then obviously you can raise this arm all the way up like that, and then you can adjust that all the way down as well. And so you can tip in from pretty much any angle. You know, it really is very, very useful to have. There we go, so that is the first of our canola harvest in the silo. Let's go continue getting the rest of it off. Oh, and you can see the clouds have gone completely, and the weather radar is showing full sunshine again. Lovely stuff. Getting ready for our second tip of canola into the silo. Going to go there with a little under 50,000 litres, so that's 2 unloads per combine. You know, we've done well, this is the second sort of double unload, so we did the first one earlier, and I've just done the other combine, which is now heading down there. Swung around to grab this one, and that's going to be a pretty much full auger again, almost full anyway. And you can see how little of the field is remaining. It's not even 9:45 yet, and the vast majority of this field is done. So I think it's highly likely that we're going to be able to make a start on either the wheat or the barley a little bit later on as well. Yeah, I think we can get this this field done by 10:30 at the latest, I would imagine, and then move over onto the larger field, field 50. That'll probably take us through to sort of early afternoon, maybe 2-3 o'clock, and then that'll still leave us several hours to work on this, or work on that field over there, or work on our barley field over there. So I think what I might well do is I might just get my spraying done. We'll see how much time we have left once the canola is completely harvested, because there is still a little bit of spraying to be done. Our corn needs to be sprayed. We've got 4 cornfields that need doing, so I might get that done and just leave it at that. I'm not quite sure yet. So it all depends how long it takes us to get the canola off the field, but I think we should be sort of finished with the canola harvest by somewhere around about 3 o'clock, as you know, as it seems to be. We're going at the rate we're going at. I think around 3 o'clock is probably a realistic kind of target time. And you might notice the shed, the TMR shed, is now gone completely. The workers managed to rip that out yesterday in the evening. I made up a big batch of TMR that's now parked up in our silo. Almost used up all of the remaining silage that we had left over, so we definitely do need to do, you know, more silage here at the farm, because the TMR that we've got won't necessarily last us all the way through to winter, I don't know. So we'll mix up some more silage, we'll leave it as silage, and then we can make some TMR if we need to, and if not, we can just sell the silage, you know, and be good like that. So yeah, it's all kind of ticking into place. You know, the farm is in its final sort of stages now. As I say, we've started our final harvests. Canola today, maybe wheat or barley. Tomorrow will definitely be wheat and barley. And then the day after that, possibly the corn. And possibly the sunflowers. Those might take a little bit longer to come in. And then beets, and then that's pretty much it. That's our harvesting done, and the farm will be just winding down and getting ready to be sold off. So we'll have a big crop sale in winter, we'll have an animal sale in winter as well, and whatever other resources we can sell we will do, and we'll see just how much money we're able to recoup. I'm not sure whether or not to add the machinery into that. We'll see, but I'm hoping we're going to end up, as I say, with a balance well over $1 million. I mean, we've almost got that now, but of course, you know, 850,000 of that is earmarked for beet stuff. So it's a lot of money to spend just for just for 2 fields of harvesting. It's very expensive. And it would make sense to sell the beet equipment off straight away as soon as the beet harvesting is done, and try and recoup as much of that money as possible. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. So I theorised we'd be done somewhere between sort of 10:30 and 11 o'clock, and you can see it's just gone 10:30. And we're almost done. We've got this section here, and then our other combine way over there, which we can't see, is dealing with the last remaining bit there. There's a pass, and then there'll be a thin strip on the way back up. So by the time we've got this section done, the combine unloaded, the other combine will be sort of making its way back on its final thin strip pass. So we can immediately sort of get started on putting our borders in on the next field, which is going to be a real task because it is so much bigger. and of course it has those interesting islands that split them. There you can see there is the thin strip that remains on the other side, so the other combine will be right down the far end and turning around about now and starting to come back up and get that final strip. So by the time it gets up here, it'll be about 11 o'clock and this field will be completely finished. There we go. Right, so let's get a border done over here. So once again we're going to run down the side of the field and run along the bottom, back up that side. We won't bother running along the top now, we won't need to because there's nothing there in the way. In fact, I might do two borders, two headlands at the bottom edge of the field. One is needed as an essential because we're so close to the road, and I think there's a telegraph pole down there as well somewhere that will also get in the way. And the second one might just give us that little bit of extra space so that the combiner can turn around properly and not back into the canola every time it wants to turn around. And then we'll do what we did last year. We'll kind of try and, when we did our soybean harvest here, we'll try and get a nice kind of dividing line, split the field into sections and work on the section at a time. I think that's going to be the best way for us to approach this. But we should get this done reasonably quickly, I think, in the grand scheme of things. You know, sort of, as I say, somewhere hopefully around about 3-ish, maybe a little bit longer. Let's see, we started combining this field, what about? It's about 6, 7 in the morning. It would have been closer to 7 by the time we got started. Somewhere around that kind of time, I think. So it took us, say, 4 hours to do that field. It's probably going to take us about 5 or 6 hours to do this field. So I'm going to revise my kind of estimate of times down to around somewhere around about 4:30, 5 o'clock for this field to be finished. Not really enough time to then make a start on getting another field done without too much delay. So, like I said, we'll do the spraying after this. We'll get our cornfields sprayed, make sure that all of our fertilising is finished, and then we can really attack the wheat barley tomorrow. And we've got plenty of time, as I again mentioned earlier. No bad weather forecast until the middle of autumn, so no pressure in terms of having to get all those fields turned over really quickly so that we can get all the baling done. We can probably spend tomorrow just doing straw baling on one of the fields. If we go for the big barley field and we get that out of the way tomorrow and all the baling that goes with it, that'll leave us plenty of time. And there we go. Helper Eye has finished at the far end, a bit out of our draw distance so we can't see him, but he should have got back to the top there. So we finished just before 11 o'clock. It was pretty much spot on with predictions. So yeah, if we focus on field 30/35, because that is a big field, if we do that tomorrow and get all the baling done on that field, because we're going to have to do it in stages. We're going to produce so much straw off that field that we're going to have to clear the field in sections. We'll hit the bale limit, I think, before we can actually bale the entirety of that field. And we can transfer it quite quickly and easily to our main farm as well for straw storage. There we go. So let's turn around. And we'll do 2 passes along the bottom, I think. So if I switch to the other combine, let's get this one unloaded. Enough space to sneak through here, I think I should do. Yes. There we go. And what we'll try and do is we'll try and put in that separating section. Might need to move the Magnum out of the way. Beacons off, don't need those on. So let's see, I want to be about here somewhere. I'll try and follow the lines on the field, I think that should just about clip the edge. It's kind of hard to track down, but I think this will just possibly overlap with the edge of that second island, the one that's furthest away. There may even potentially be a rock in the way that we'll have to avoid. In fact, I think we're probably a little bit too close looking at it as we start to get closer to it. Again, it's quite hard to track those lines sometimes, and there definitely looks like there's going to be a rock of some kind in the way. But that's alright. I mean, we can kind of work our way around it on this pass, and then we'll be able to attack all of this section across there as the next part that we do. Is there a rock in the way? Actually, I think we might just avoid the rock and be able to carry straight on. Worker's probably going to stop any second. No, worker is automatically carrying on through. Excellent stuff. So there we go. We have our dividing line put in place, and that is the section that we're going to work on first. Let's switch back to the other combine. Oh, he's almost full. Okay, we need the Magnum down there. Lots of equipment to scroll through, as you can see. There it is. Let's charge our way along the bottom. We've got 40,000 litres in here, so we're going to have to go and empty this once we've emptied the combine, because we'll be pretty much at capacity. Plus we'll also have the other combine that'll almost certainly need to be emptied, or at least partially emptied. It'll be interesting to see just how much is going to be in that combine when it gets to the bottom. That'll give us a really good indicator as to how much material we'll put in the back of the combine per pass. There's certainly no way we could do a full pass, I don't think, with a high yield crop like wheat or barley. I think it would just fill the tank up too quickly. Looks like we just failed to seed a little patch just there. You can see there's no damage, there's no stubble, it's just cultivated soil there, so a little mess up. We can work around that. So we're looking at just over 6,000 litres. Not quite 6.5. Okay, so these are definitely going to need to empty themselves. Let's see, which way is it going to turn? It's going to turn backwards. So I want this on the far end of the field. Our other combine is going to have to jump on that in a second. If I can do that first. Because he's going to stop at this point here. And I want him to carry on all the way over. There we go. So I'll run this guy across, we'll get the combines repositioned and set, and then we'll go and empty our auger, bring it back, empty the first combine that's parked up here, and set about clearing out this large chunk of soybean just here. Sorry, canola just here. So we've got both combines now working this section here, and this is where it gets a little bit clunky as we try and turn these, empty these hoppers as quickly and as efficiently as possible. There we go, so that's that one being emptied. The other one has just stopped and filled up there, so we're going to have to spin around to the other side again and tag that one, get that one up and running again. And what I've done is I also got the boys in the workshop to build me a little trailer, a little fuel trailer, so that I had a way to keep these combines running if they ran out on the field. And one of them is actually getting pretty close to running out, so we'll be nipping back and collecting that little trailer from the workshop in a moment, getting it filled up and brought over to the field so that we can top up the combine that needs it, and we can potentially also stick a little bit more fuel in our Magnum. You can see that this is starting to run a bit low, although we could, I suppose, do that back at the yard when we do our next tip of canola. So we'll probably save it just for the combines, because those things have got quite big tanks. They're quite thirsty, so we've only got 2,000 litres of fuel capacity on our trailer, and I think one of the combines will gobble up most of that pretty much straight away. So let's get this combine going again. There we go, just take enough out to get it started. Pull back alongside, and there we go, this combine is now operational, and we can get this one emptying while the other one is already moving and filling up again. We will have to pay attention, because there is going to be a risk that these two will get in each other's way as they get closer and closer to each other. It's only going to take another few passes for that to happen, but once that's done we can then start working on clearing out the next section. And what I'll probably do is put a pass across the field like that, where the island is, so that we can just work the bottom section and then do the same at the top, and then manually kind of clear out all the stuff around the edges. I think that's how I might approach that. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm going to run this all the way to the end, and as I say, we'll grab a fuel trailer and we'll bring that up and stand by ready to refuel one of our combines. So we're just finishing off the final section, almost like the first, it's not quite half, is it? I would say it's a little bit more than a third, maybe 2/5 of the field. A good chunk of it anyway. This combine of course has stopped just before it got to the top. So we're going to switch to just a single combine for a little while, just to get the next sort of sections carved, and once that's done then we'll go back to running 2 combines again. So again, just tag him enough to get him started. Move back far enough and start pulling away again, and now we can track alongside and empty as he goes on that last little strip. There we go, finished. So let's jump out, let's get into the other combine. Is this the one that needs filling, or is that the other one? It's this one. So let's refuel this. Oops, tried not to clip the trailer there. Back up a little bit. There we go. And while that's refueling, let's grab our other combine and we'll start carving the section of the field. Need to go in on this side here. There we go. Still plenty of fuel left in this one, as you can see. So for what I want to do here, is start carving a section around the island. So I can try and separate the field out a bit into workable areas. start with a nice simple straight line that'll run along here and go up to the side of the other section there. And then we'll pivot as we get to the edge of the island here. So I want to pivot about there. See, there's a little rock in the way there. I've got to take a slight avoidance to that. There we go. And now I've got a section there I can work on, which shouldn't get in the way of everything else. And I can use my other combine to start clearing out this section here. So we're approaching it in a slightly different way to how we did it with the soybean last year. Just want to try and experiment a little bit, see if this different method will work. And this will need a border along the top because of the proximity to our wheat field just there. So I'll just spin that around. And then start running down that edge over there. We'll need to make sure we tag it by the time it gets to the bottom. And give us a little bit of time to get the other combine sort of moving a little bit. There we go. Right, so let's go jump into the other combine and start working on this stuff here in the middle. So cleaned out all the sides here, as you can see now. That's all good. We've got this nice little sort of squarish kind of section in front of us. We'll make a start on that. Let's go from the other side there, which is closer to the island, so that there's no risk of potential worker failure. There we go. And now he can just clear that section off quite quickly and easily. And all that's left now is that big section there that kind of runs up and down the side and then slopes underneath the islands there. We're up to what? About 2:15. So I thought it might take us till about 5 o'clock to get this done. We might be able to get it a little bit quicker than that. Maybe 4 o'clock? I think that's probably a little bit generous. I think, yeah, 5 o'clock is probably still a little bit more realistic. So we'll keep plodding away. We'll have plenty of time to get our spraying done after this anyway, so excuse me. Yeah, I'll keep working away with the harvesters. We'll clear off this section, get this field done, and then we'll get those cornfields sprayed. So now what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning up this section here to make it a little bit easier for our AI, so that we can try and get both combines up and running again. So see, I'm just cutting this little section just here. And there we go, we've got a nice clean section for the AI to work in. We're going to take this section here, manually clean this up ourselves. This shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes at most to get done. If that. And then we can try and get our AI running with 2 combines again, just to kind of really crack down on getting this field done. We're now up to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Not a large chunk left really in the grand scheme of things. It's that big bulk down there that's going to be the longest part of this field, which is why I want to try and get 2 combines running on this again as quickly as possible. So let's do that. The combine is about to fill up again. Take the Magnum down there with the auger wagon and unload him. And there we go, this section here is done. And this is going to need an unload as well. So let's quickly tab through to our Magnum. This is almost full as well, so this is going to need an empty. It's all piling up, isn't it? Let's go tag the other. We go tag the other combine. We can at least keep that one running, even if we can't empty it fully. And then we can get this empty. We've got space for just under 10,000 litres in here, so we won't be able to completely empty the combine. We'll be able to empty it enough for it to at least keep running on this section while we go and empty the auger, and then bring it back, empty the other combine, and get that one started. So yeah, we're getting there. Well, there we go. We are just about done. First combine parked up, ready and waiting to be unloaded. This one here, I don't know if we'll have quite enough capacity left. I don't know how much is in the other combine. We've got, what, 3 and a bit thousand litres left. There we go. So the first one is done, and we've got space to get all of the stuff from the second one. It doesn't look like there's much in there. It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Oh, not quite. How much is left in there? It's going to be literally a few litres by the look of it. I can't even get in. There's no space. 158 litres. Are you kidding me? Oh, that sucks. I'm half tempted to just drop it on the floor and be done with it. We won't. We'll take it back. So this field is done, and we got done somewhere between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. So the prediction time turned out to be another pretty much spot-on prediction. So all that remains now is for us to kind of scoot this gear away. We'll take it back to the farm, get it all cleaned off first of all. If actually no, I don't need to do that, do I? I should have I've got a wash point, I think, inside. Yeah, I've got a wash point inside the storage facility. So I'll just take the equipment back to the shed, and I'll get started on spraying the fields. I'll probably get that sprayed first before I break the combines all down for the night. And we'll do a quick check and see just what our storage total is for the truck. I wonder if I could tip that into the back of the pickup. That 153 litres. I suppose I could, but then how would I get it back out again? You'll probably end up just tipping on the floor. So, what's our storage total going to look like? That's 250,000 litres. And look at the price of soybean just 2 days after we sold it. Less than 48 hours. It's 1,700 and falling. That's not good at all. That's $700 less than we were getting 48 hours ago. $280,000. Just shy of 290,000 litres. I think it's another 153 litres to add into that, which we'll do in just a second. So, a very, very good, successful canola harvest this time around. A lot of canola to sell later in the year. So just go get those last few litres, and then we'll break out the sprayer and we'll go spray our corn. So here we are back on field 5, and this time you can see the soil colour is definitely lighter, so we are ready to actually apply some fertiliser to this field and not waste it this time. And there you can immediately see the colour of the soil change as the spray hits it. Hard to actually see from that angle because of the trees. There we go, if we get an overhead shot you can see the difference there between treated and untreated soil there. Actually our boom is a little bit low. Need to raise that up. There we go. Get that to the right height so we're not damaging the crop by ripping that through. We want it to be above the top of the corn there. So let's spin this corner. I thought I could just about get away with it, but it looks like we would have hit the post. There we go, and don't forget we still have that little bit of fertiliser left at the store from when we bought a container to start spraying and then didn't need to use it, so we'll top up the last few hundred litres from that into this before we head back and then spray the 2 fields at the farm. But this is it, essentially. This is the end of our day here, just spraying off our corn like this. So we'll get this done, we'll get everything packed away for the night, and then tomorrow all of our fields will be nicely fertilised. You see here, this is all we need to finish off field 5, and then we'll do field 6, come back, do 32, 33, and then field 34. Tomorrow we're going to weed field 44 while we're doing the harvesting on 30/35. We'll get the baling done, and then that will probably take up most of, if not all of the day, simply because, yeah, it's a big field and we're going to have a lot of bales to deal with at various different stages of the afternoon. So, if we get time, we will also attack field 43 or 45, one of those two, probably 43 because it's going to be a bit easier and also clears up some space around 48 and 51. You can see as well now, field 49, one of the fields that we ploughed in our very first year before the farm started, is now in need of ploughing again. So this is the third and final round of harvests before another plough session is needed. We may possibly plough the fields for the new owner of the farm. We may leave them as they are. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Depends how generous I'm feeling, I suppose. But I'll leave you at this point here. We've finished spraying field 5. We need to move across to field 6. I do this without folding the boom arms. Gap in traffic. Yeah, we're just going to nip across. Ooh. A little bit awkward, but we made it. So let's spray along the bottom to avoid hitting traffic. There we go. So yeah, I'll leave you like this, and then when we come back tomorrow, we'll be harvesting again, doing a little bit of weeding and plenty of baling. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I'll be back with some more Lone Oak Farm very soon.